Welcome to the latest edition of Cageside Speaks. My name is 14 Fitzpatrick, and happy Easter weekend, folks, for another edition of Cageside Speaks. This is the gimmick where we bring together some Cagesiders from the Cageside Seats community to talk about the shows that happened during the weekend of WrestleMania. We had a little bit of a hiccup when it came to NXT TakeOver, however. As you might have noticed, we've only been able to bring together two people on this edition of the show because one of the guests had to drop out because of a family emergency, and several had the WrestleMania flu cold season thing happen to them. So here we have with us returning. First up is Joe Mo back from his WrestleMania 33 show.
Hey guys, I'm back again. Can't get enough of doing this, I guess.
And also returning is Kevin Green.
And Mr. Green is back and ready for the hot takes. Let's go.
Making me think that we're going to be ordering pizza whenever you say the word hot take, by the way. Whenever somebody says hot take, I go, why are they talking about pizza? Anyway, the show that we're talking about is sort of the forgotten homecoming for TakeOver as they returned to Orlando, which is their home base for Triple H's Kingdom of Wrestling, which I have nicknamed Isengard in the past. We have only 5 matches to talk about on this show, and we also have only a few additional things to talk about for this edition of Speaks. We'll start off with the first match, which is Sanity apparently raided a Hot Topic store, stole all of their black eyeliner, and proceeded to have a match against what I've dubbed Team Super Friends. KM Tierney's favorite wrestler, Ty Dillinger, Ruby Riott, the newest acquisition for NXT brand, formerly known as Heidi Lovelace on the independent scene, Roderick, I Break Backs Strong, and the last person was going to be No Way Jose, but was beaten up at a live show during WrestleMania weekend. So instead, they brought in Cassius Ohno, who has recently returned to the NXT brand. So I want to get your quick thoughts from the panel here about this particular match, and we'll start with Matt.
All right, so with this match, okay, first I got to just drop a disclaimer here. This is the 4th show I watched during the day, and so I was like dead tired, but I wanted to get through it so I wouldn't have to, try to cram this while Mania was going on or something. So I did enjoy this match though. I did actually beat my expectations by a bit because with Jose going down and Ono going in, that was a pretty big upgrade. No offense to Jose, of course, because he's fun, but he's not Ono. Sanity just hasn't really worked for me lately. But I don't know. I like this. This was a fun. I don't want to call it a scramble, but it was like a pretty chaotic car crash match. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. I don't know why Sanity won this though, because they needed to start kind of building some faces here, and they didn't really do that unless they're going to push Sanity to develop.
Okay, cool. So are they going to be? Do you think that they are going to push Sanity to the belt?
Well, I hope not. Based on the direction they kind of went, I guess so. Because I don't know what options they have at this point. They can't. Nakamura's gone, so you can't try to find a reason to extend that any longer. And they didn't. I mean, ideally, I would have had Cassius or Roderick Strong pick up the fall here, and then that would be the stopgap for TakeOver Chicago, but they didn't do that. So I guess that's where we're going. But
yeah, we're going to the Chi-Town Rumble next after this, which I believe is going to be happening in mid-May.
Man, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, that's definitely a quick turnaround. So, Kevin, what were your thoughts on this match?
I thought it was a pretty good, decent match to open the card. Lots of action, good spots. Cassius Ohno was I guess a surprise I haven't seen him in quite some time. I found it funny, his ring gear. They put him in a T-shirt. It was funny, but good match. You know, good match. As far as Sanity, they looks like I don't think they're gonna get a push coming off of this match. I just think it was just just like a blow off match to kind of get the crowd into it, and it didn't really mean anything in my opinion watching it. I don't think it was a setup for anything.
Well, actually, there is a little bit of setup because once again, Dillinger took the pinfall loss against Eric Young, and on NXT TV, they set up a cage match for this.
But isn't he gone though? Isn't he on Raw? Like, I don't watch NXT, so I didn't think
he is on SmackDown for now. He did get called up a couple weeks ago, but they are blowing off the Eric Young and Ty Dillinger feud
on NXT TV.
On NXT TV, I believe next week they will be having the cage match, or the week after.
Are you guys fans of that guy, Ty Dillinger? I'm not really big on that guy still.
I think he has some value, but I think there's going to be a lot of mad people when he's not getting a heavy push by the end of the year. I'll just say that. Because
or one person's going to be furious if he's going to be getting a mad push. In the case of KM Tierney, we were talking about here, I use the term KM Tierney's favorite wrestler ironically, folks. So he hates Ty Dillinger with the fury of 1,000 moons. And anytime he hears the word 10, he goes ballistic.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair to him, though,
that's not gonna replace the yes chance. Yes is more fun for the crowd just to scream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just with Dillinger, I think they have somebody. I like that the fact he's over is probably his biggest asset right now because he's an okay mic worker. He's all right in the ring, but he's not. I don't know. I think some people are kind of have it in their minds he's going to be a huge deal coming forward, and they're already kind of showing he's not. Just you can tell just how they was debuted on SmackDown.
Yeah.
He debuted on the same show that Nakamura got the all-time great debut.
Yeah, he got the glitz and the glamour. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just. That being said, I think he could really help.
Let me just say one thing about that
go
guy.
ahead.
Sorry not to cut you off.
Oh no, yeah, you're fine.
I think this guy is a perfect example of he's a great worker or whatever, but he's not everybody has to get called up to the main roster, and people could be career NXT guys and they could get their Royal Rumble pop in and stuff like that, but I just don't think some of the gimmicks transfer well to the big stage. Like, my opinion, Bailey is another one too. Like, but let's not get into that. I just wanted to say that. Like, I just
continue with the Bailey point because you might be onto something here.
Because I think I don't think it's a big deal as much. It doesn't feel as much as a big deal as it is when you're watching it on NXT or the NXT takeovers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think you could still sell the same merchandise or whatever. She could pop in and have a big match on the big stage. Like, I just think sometimes NXT, you don't necessarily. It's like, and that's I think why NXT is not where it was on the last takeover I watched, because it's like, all right, who's coming in and who's leaving? There's nobody like that's there that's a star. Like, everybody that was there that's established is gone. The Samoa Joes, the Finns, Rival now is gone. Like, so there's a whole bunch of empty space, and nobody's there. And to take Ty Dillinger too, like, he's a fan favorite. Like, so who's really left? Like, some guys should really just stay down there and build. Like, Finn didn't want to leave yet, as soon as he left, look what happened to him. You know what I mean? He could have still been down there for a little while, and just maybe made an appearance on Raw for a stare down. You see, like how they did it with Bray Wyatt, like something like that. Like, you know what I mean? And build him that way. Like, build a demon that way type of thing. But that's just my opinion.
That's actually, I think that's actually not, I kind of agree with that. The NXT could use a few, I don't want to say like lifers because they're not necessarily I mean, but maybe it could be just like lifers or like just some internal consistency.
Yeah, there's no anchors. There's no anchors. They took all the anchors out, and there's nobody there to anchor the show. Like, you know?
See, I can get wanting like Finn on the main roster because he was selling a ton of tickets and moving a ton of merch. So maybe there's some value there. Or like Nakamura, you don't keep Nakamura down there for that long. He was already losing interest anyways. But someone like
he just wanted to work the style and learn how to just kind of get used to being on this side of the world for quite some time, and that's perfectly fine. I think he's going to need somebody to do some of the talking for him because that's not going to last pretty long. Like, you know, he can only do that once, so he's going to need somebody to, you know, not run the interpreter gimmick like a Mr. Fuji type of thing, but you know, somebody that's. You know, like I like the violin guy. Does the violin guy always come out with him, or is that just a special occasion thing?
I think they only do that. They've only done that a couple times overall. I think for NXT.
Maybe they should do something like that, and that be his trusted guy. You know what I mean? And you got to talk to him and stuff like that. You know,
I honestly think that Nakamura doesn't need a promo guy for him because he's actually fairly good at English.
No, I understand that, but the whole like, all right, after he beats Dolph Ziggler now, like he's just gonna go to the next guy and have that same interest to go, I'm gonna fight you next. Like, you know, it's gonna have to have some kind of. That's going to get boring quickly. So it's got to be somebody that kind of help transition through the feuds. Because if it's just I'm going to fight this guy, and then I'm going to show up and fight this guy, and then I'm going to interrupt this guy. It's not really going to.
I think that's where the GM comes in because basically Daniel Bryan is using Nakamura as his executioner.
He has heat with Dolph Ziggler. I think he gave Dolph Ziggler an opportunity. It's Miz. He didn't kick off his Miz head. He shouldn't have kicked his head off, but he took the safe route and got out of the ring.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're digressing, guys.
So, yeah, I mean, with Nakamura, I can't even remember what I was going with this. He was, I mean. Yeah, I think you have a point about it could be a little difficult to start booking him in a few different situations. Now he's on the main roster and stuff, but he can, I mean, the fact he can sort of talk helps, and the crowd going crazy for him is going to help a lot too. Because if he just comes out and stands there and everyone's losing their shit, that is going to, I mean, even if the segment isn't like, if nothing happens in the segment, that I don't know, that counts for a lot.
Yeah, but that's just one time, you know. It's not going to happen every time, you know what I mean? You're not going to capture that magic every single time, you know.
Sure, but I think
he gets the belt sooner than later too. Though,
yeah, he's got the belt. Going to get the belt sooner than later. I mean, here's the interesting thing that I want to diverge a little bit on with your point here. I realized suddenly that NXT is basically a college football town and is like a college football team because you only get those players for 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so they're basically thinking of them like college football players. Okay, we have these people here for like a year or two, and we're going to put them in these basic feuds.
Yeah.
That these crowds will enjoy because they enjoy the basic type of feuds of, well, this person wants to prove that he's better than this person, or this person wants to prove this or that. And you have that with Team All-Stars. You have Ono, who wants to return for the whole redemption angle thing. Ruby Riott, who wants to prove herself as one of the top faces in the NXT women's division. And Roderick Strong likes breaking people's backs.
Right.
Yeah.
Sanity does not have much of a purpose beyond the fact that they can do well in multi-person tag matches and that Nikki Cross wants another shot at Asuka's belt.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, basically what I'm waiting for Sanity is for Eric Young to eventually, and I said this on the last edition of NXT Speaks, to be sacrificed because there is a much more capable leader that is waiting in the wings, and he was in the second match.
Yeah, I agree there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So that entrance for Aleister Black was just, man. That felt main roster, main eventer presentation right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've typically struggled with the whole, holy Satan gimmick before. Like they did that with Mordecai. Aleister Black is like a version of Mordecai done 50,000 times better.
Well, it helps with Black, too. They're not going like full, I am actually from God and I'm actually punishing the sinners. It's like I'm not sure what exactly is going on with him, but he's just...
Hail Satan.
He brings this aura with him, though, where it feels like something very, very bad's going to happen. And then I really like to capitalize that on TV, where he's KO'd Corey Hollis in like 8 seconds. If he got put into Sanity, I think that would kind of just fix up the act a little bit. Because Eric Young, he's not intimidating. Alexander Wolf's dancing is intimidating in the fact that I don't know why you're doing it. Please stop. And then, I don't know. I like the idea of Sanity being Killian Dane, Cross, and Alistair a lot more than the current lineup. Just because it feels like they could... See, now that kind of stable just feels like a big deal. And it feels like that could really... I don't know. It just...
That could really help fix what they're having right now.
Yeah, it would give... Because right now with NXT, we don't really have any, people we're supposed to like or dislike. I mean, Rude, we're supposed to dislike, Bobby Roode, but he's not really trying to make anybody dislike him either, which is... Yeah. That's an issue. So it would give NXT just new life, I think.
So were either of you impressed by Ruby Riott?
Oh, yeah. I liked her. I wish her and Cross would have got more time in the match, actually.
Well, yeah, both of them were basically brawling with each other the entirety of the match. And like you guys said, it was a chaotic brawl. It was like, I'm going like, this is a 12-minute long match. This basically feels like a 5-minute sprint.
Yeah, a lot of spots and stuff in that match. Yeah. Like I said, it was just, let everybody come in, do their thing, tell a quick story.
I did enjoy the moment of chivalry that Cassius Ohno did when Ruby Riott by tapping her on the back and switching places with her, and then basically knocking out both Wolf and I believe it was Dane.
Exactly. You could do those kind of things in tag matches, those kind of goofy spots, So.
And Ty lost yet another pinfall, but from what we're hearing, that he has his last showdown with Eric Young in a couple weeks here in a steel cage.
Yeah, he's going to be looking at the lights too on that one.
I'm looking at the... I don't want to spoil it specifically, but I don't think he loses this one. Nope.
I hope he doesn't. That'd just be kind of a weird way to send him off, just having him take another loss.
Is he going to be in the Cruiserweight division? Do you guys think they're going to put him in the Cruiserweight division?
Well, no. Nah. No, he's on SmackDown, so he's not going to be in the Cruiserweight division.
He's going to be enhancement talent. He's going to be what Apollo Crews is, pretty much.
I actually prefer him over Crews at this point because Crews is going to Raw.
He should go in the Cruiserweight division, but they're not going to do that.
I don't think Dillinger weighs. I think Dillinger weighs more than most of the Cruiserweights, though.
I was talking about Apollo Crews.
Apollo Crews? I think it's the same deal there.
Yeah.
He's too big?
Yeah.
If he can cut down, I'm not sure how big he is right now. If he's close, I would have him cut down and see.
What is it? 230 is the max?
I believe he's 235. I think right now that their current rate is at 205.
Oh, 205. Yeah. Oh, yeah, 205.
That's a bit risky for Crews to do that. So
no.
Yeah, that's kind of a large cut.
So continuing on, we have, as we talked about a little bit earlier, Aleister Black versus one of the biggest mysteries in NXT, Andrade Almas.
Excuse me.
Oh my goodness. I like Almas. I like his ring work. I'm actually liking his gimmick of being ungovernable. But what's going on with this dude? Why does he keep losing? So we'll start off with Matt.
I feel like they don't really know what to do with Almas at this point. It'd be cool if you could kind of set up Los Ingobernables del
NXT.
Yeah, del NXT. But yeah, he's just kind of treading water. There were reports he was going to go up to the main roster, I think at 2 different occasions, and both of those were wrong. I don't know. I'm just going to claim his whole gimmick right now is a rib on Alberto Del Rio, and just assume that once Del Rio stops being Del Rio, that Almas starts doing some other stuff here.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how it can be a rib though, because he's the guy that's he's very different from Del Rio in that he doesn't have the Olympic background, and he's not. I don't think he's related to the Dos Caras family.
Well, I mean, just like with the gimmick in general, because I guess there was a report from somebody that there was someone on the upper card last year was spending way too much time partying.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, it seems, and then they're also kind of going with the attitude, or what am I trying to say here? With the attitude, or they're saying like Almas isn't focused on the ring and he's having attitude problems and whatever. Like, I think either a week or 2 ago on NXT they showed him like partying or whatever with a couple, or like in a club. So I don't know. I think he's a rib on somebody at this point. It seems weird that they're not doing anything with him.
Yeah, it's a bit weird that happens, but I'm not sure if it's a rib at all. I just think that they're just going with the ungovernable gimmick at this point. You know, it could be like some kind of rib on Del Rio, but it kind of feels like a bit of a reach. Whereas regardless, you know, as we talked about earlier, Black is amazing. This is the second time I've seen Aleister Black in ring. He was performing as Tommy End against Neville in the WWE Cruiserweight Championship Series. So he's just absolutely amazing. So, Kevin, what were your impressions on this match, and what were your impressions on these 2 individuals?
The Aleister Black guy, man, very impressive. As Matt said, you know, you could smell the money. Main event guy, you know, main event entrance. You know, this guy means something. He's a big deal. You know what I mean? This is my first match watching him. I think I do remember that. He was on the Cruiserweight Classic, right?
UK tournament, I believe.
The UK tournament. One of those things. Yeah, he was impressive on that as well.
Yeah, he was the special attraction match before the main event.
Yeah, man, that guy is really good. The other guy, he's a good worker. You know, I think they just put him in there. You know, he's gonna have a good match, a safe match. You know, with that shows off the Aleister Black guy. You know, so I think it was a really good match, and I don't really understand the other stuff you're talking about with his character. He just seemed like, you know, like a Latino guy. They kind of tread water with the Latino gimmick. They don't really know how to do it without coming off, you know.
As offensive, you mean?
As offensive, yes, pretty much. So I think he should be on the main roster. He looks like one of those Attitude Era guys, like, you know, like a Val Venus or a Steve Blackman, like a mid-card guy, but you know what I'm saying? Could work a good match.
Without the offensive gimmick or lethal weapons.
Yes. You know, so he's a guy that could work a good match, you know, good mid-card guy. You know, you could depend on him. I don't think you could put a strap on him unless, you know, he has some character development or personality, you know, but
I think he's got personality, but the problem is that he's used to working in front of Arena Mexico crowds. And this is the big thing when you have to deal with international wrestlers. They are used to working in front of certain individuals and certain crowds. That's why the European guys have struggled on the main roster roster over the years. They don't know how to react to these main roster types of cards. It's something that they have to adjust to over the years. And I enjoy what Alamos is doing. He's taking his time trying to adjust to an American crowd. Also, Mexico doesn't do a lot of singles matches.
Yeah.
They typically tend to do trios or tag team matches instead of just singles matches. And the singles matches are done very quickly. They're called lightning matches down there. Basically, you have a 15-minute time limit to take to try and win a pinfall against your opponent in the shortest amount of time. And yeah, so basically this was actually the shortest match on the card as well, at 9 minutes 35 seconds, and probably one of the better matches on this show.
Yeah.
And
the time he did during the match, that was pretty cool, man. That made him look like, hey.
Yeah, he sat down in the middle of the ring and just
CM Punk style.
Actually, that's martial artist style.
Yeah, I know.
Martial artist monk meditation style that Punk took from wherever. Anyway, we have after that is the really interesting triple threat match. This is a triple threat elimination match between Paul Ellering and his murder monsters, the Authors of Pain, DIY, Gargano and Ciampa, and the Revival, Dawson and Dash. And this was the second longest match in this show at 20 minutes and 50 seconds. And it was enjoyable, although very, very weirdly paced. And Matt, what are your thoughts on this match?
Okay, so this felt like almost two separate matches, right? And the cutoff line is with DIY and without DIY. The first, let's see, about 20 minutes or so, that's what I'm seeing on Wikipedia right now, which is when DIY went out. That was some of the absolute best storytelling I've seen at any match ever, I think. I loved seeing DIY and Revival kind of, if I'm remembering the start right, they kind of didn't really want to team up at first, and then once they realized AOP was just throwing them everywhere, they stood together, and that just, I lost my mind for that. But at the same time, some of the stuff Authors of Pain did was just, it was just like a bridge too far. I'm trying to think of everything they battled out of because it was a lot. There was at least one table spot, double submission,
corner spots, double teams, triple teams, submissions attempted.
Yeah, both tag finishers, which, I mean, I absolutely loved the two teams splitting up to do each other's finishers too. That was amazing. But at the same time, it's just, I mean, Authors of Pain are already established as monsters. Why do we need to go this extra length to make them look that dominant?
I actually think it's more they're trying to protect DIY and the Revival in this case by showcasing that this is truly a monster team, and this is why that these two teams lost, because they knew that they had to do a call-up on one of these two, which turned out to be the Revival, and they also wanted to protect DIY so that they could have their rematch against the AOP.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Yeah. So I guess in general, I really did like this match, but now it just also feels like the Authors of Pain are like at a Asuka level a little bit, where they're just so far above everybody else. Because I guess Ciampa has a shoulder injury or something else, so he's not going to be around. So that's what I heard last. I don't know how reliable that could have been, but I'm pretty sure he's hurt. So unless we're gonna strap the Rocket to Heavy Machinery, which I'm in favor of because I love Heavy Machinery. I don't know where you go with these guys anymore.
Oh yeah, you don't know. You know, we'll have to see what they do. But first, I want to get the thoughts. Kevin, what were your thoughts in this match?
Matt brought something interesting to my attention. Two things. She said it's two matches, and it looked like it was two matches in one. I agree with that. And the second thing was he said he didn't understand why and took so many moves to get him over to look so strong. I think it was more for the casual viewer like me, who the last time I saw them was on the run-in, and I'm a casual NXT, watcher. I just watch the takeovers, and I think the takeover stuff brings in eyes like me. So I think the match was tailored to make the guys look like nobody's stopping these guys, and everybody looked strong. The Revival ended up coming on Raw and making a statement, and I think that's what it was. It was kind of all by design, to have everybody come out looking strong, but these guys are still the champs. I think it was a really good match, though. Long, filled with spots, but still a very entertaining match. One of my favorites of the night.
Yeah, this match did not feel long at all, actually.
Because there's a lot of spots, But when you said how long the match was, I was like, I didn't even know it was that long. You said 28 minutes or something like that?
23 minutes
23
for this
minutes?
one.
Yeah. So
yeah, we'll get to the long match a little bit later. But are you excited for the Revival being on Raw, Kevin?
It depends on the level of competition, because they wrestled very snug. They're very stiff style, so they're going to have to either put together guys or like them. I'd like to see them and Sheamus and Cesaro go up if they're still going to keep them together, because I really thought Cesaro was out of there. I thought he was going to be on SmackDown, but apparently not. But so I'd love to see maybe those guys go after it, to try to get the #1 contendership. But it just depends on their dance partners, man. But I think they're full of potential, and they could legitimize the tag team title scene on Raw.
I think the tag team title scene right now is actually in a good place with the Hardys being champions.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to see them come on NXT too. Sorry, I'd love to see them just pop up.
The Hardys.
Yeah, I'd love to see them just pop up, because that's what they've been doing, right? Are they still the Ring of Honor champs?
No, they
dropped them the night. They dropped it the night before, right?
Yeah, I believe they did.
It seems like the ladder match at Mania. Yeah, it seemed like that was kind of the end of the what were they calling that? The Expedition for Gold story.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I mean, I want to take some time just to mention that. With that whole story, that was WWE booking the end of a story that started in TNA and went into Ring of Honor for a little bit.
That's crazy.
That?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. TNA, AAA, then Ring of Honor, then WWE. They went for 4, 5, 6 promotions and finally ended up at this Expedition of Gold to WWE.
Yeah,
which was completely insane, but also it worked.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was a good look for those guys.
Yeah. I'm really excited for what the Revival can do on Raw. They already made a great introduction. When the New Day announced the Open Challenge and the Revival show up, and Dawson knocks over the ice cream cart.
Yeah, I love that.
Dash stomps on the dang thing.
Oh, yeah.
And
those two are so good. This attention to detail, that.
Just a little tiny attentions to details. And this is the thing I talked with Dia, who's absolutely excited to see her team, the Revival, on the main roster. This is one of the most intelligent tag teams that's coming up to the main roster. And I know that sounds surprising that I use the word intelligent to describe a guy's whose gimmick is basically rednecks from North Carolina. But they really are a very, very intelligent team. They're probably now freaking out about the fact that somebody just used the word intelligence and the Revival to describe this team.
Yeah, they have great ring psychology, man. They're wrestlers. They're not like brawlers. They're not, they wrestle a good match. You're gonna get a wrestling match with these guys,
Yeah. With the tricks of the trade, the tactics that these guys use, the amount of spots that they were able to configure in this particular match, this triple threat, was wow.
You know, so
Yeah.
Have to be very, very intelligent to be able to do that correctly without getting anybody injured.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the one minor issue I did have with this match is I felt as though that the Offers of Pain they kind of seemed like the faces in this match, because this basically was a handicap match for the most part for the ALP. They had to face against two teams that they decided to team up on them. But that's just a minor thing for me. And I think where the Offers of Pain will go next will be either facing against DIY again, unless Ciampa's hurt, or we get to face Heavy Machinery. And Heavy Machinery, for those who don't know, is an incredibly awesome tag team. Think Earthquake and Tugboat, but enjoyably fun.
yeah.
Oh man. Though I love those guys so much. I just want to get them on. I want to come up to SmackDown right now and just throw them the belts.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of belts, what do you guys think of the new titles, the way they look?
Oh, right. Yeah, they debuted new titles for all three divisions, the tag team, the women's championship, and the NXT championship. So, and like Kevin said, what do you guys think of the new belts?
I'll let Kevin comment on that while I look up what they look like, because I can't even remember.
Well, I'm glad they changed the NXT, you know, the main championship. That thing was god awful to me, and it looks more legitimate. I thought they should have made the titles just a little bit bigger. They look kind of small, but I think that's by design. You know, everything's like to represent. You know, it's not as big WWE, but you know, but I like the way they all looked. Especially the tag team ones too. They definitely needed new tag team championships, and they all look uniform, and I like them. What do you got? What do you think about them?
I think that they look okay. I mean, I am not an obsessive person when it comes to belts. Like, people will obsess over this, that, or the other thing when it comes to championship titles, where I go, okay, shiny thing.
Yeah.
Person goes after shiny thing. It's like the One Ring.
All right, yeah, I got them pulled up in front of me right now, and yeah, I think they look pretty good. I think there's there's nothing like the Universal title. It's like, oh God, why?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, and I think they're just kind of aiming for a little bit of what you said, like some uniformity across the
exactly
brand there. So they're not, there's not so much focus on, oh my God, this title looks like this and that looks like that and all that. Just kind of how all the belts look the same in the UFC.
I think they kind of look like college football rings, which continues the whole theme of NXT kind of being like a fraternal college, which it basically is when it's not being a cult. And speaking of cults, we have actually more like a giant monsters all-out attack brawl with this next match. Okay, so which one is Godzilla and which one is King Gamera, guys? Asuka or Ember Moon?
Oh, man.
Asuka's Godzilla.
Really? Because she seems more like King Ghidorah to me. I mean, just this destructive force of destruction. So the build of this match is basically the unstoppable force meets the other unstoppable force, and the entire arena gets destroyed in the process. Ember Moon has been basically undefeated, not pinned or submitted, and Asuka has been undefeated since she debuted in NXT. And, I think I'll let the panel talk a little bit about this match first before I talk about what my issues with this match were. So, Kevin, do you want to go first this time?
Sure, I'll go first. Will be my first match watching Ember Moon, so I saw the package. She was undefeated, but I knew she was going to take the L tonight because, you know, who is she? No disrespect to Asuka, you know, but so I knew Asuka was going to win going in. But pace, everybody got their shit in. Kind of trying a little too hard because it was on the big stage, Ember Moon. But I think it was all right, you know. And I really thought Asuka was going to lose at some parts of it. But good spots, man. I think she's going to be a big deal pretty soon, and I just don't know if getting a win over Asuka is going to be the signature win for her. So I don't know who they're going to bring in, but she's going to have to beat somebody, I think bigger than her, to kind of get her over. But she definitely has great potential, and I look forward to seeing more matches from Ember Moon. She took the loss like a champ.
Mm-hmm. Coolness. Matt, what are your thoughts on this match?
Okay, so with this match, this is actually months and months and months ago, back in like the summer. I figured this is where Ember actually would beat Asuka. So I mean, I felt a little surprised where then she didn't, but they also haven't really done a great job building up Ember Moon as of late. So I think it was the right call to leave the belt on Asuka. And it looks like, judging by what they did on TV this week with the promo where Ember was standing in the empty Amway Center, I think they're actually building towards as the challenger again at a later date. I thought this was a pretty good match. I don't remember a whole lot from it, but one thing I am happy with is I think they're sticking with heel Asuka this time. And it seems like they've kind of wanted to do a little bit of both with her at the last few TakeOver shows, where she'll come in as a face, act like a heel, and then she'll go back to being a face on TV, which is super weird. And I kind of wish they would just pick, But I think, now I think we have a fully heel Asuka, and now we have someone who I think they're trying to build up as the next underdog face. Or an underdog, maybe, but like sympathetic face.
God, underdog.
No. Ember Moon does not come across as an underdog, but yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing where this is going. I'm a little bummed out that the build for the women's division had about a year, though, because this started back at Dallas when it was basically just, we know Bayley's gone and she's just kind of sticking around to finish up a storyline. They've had about a year to build this thing, and it's just kind of fallen a little flat.
Yeah. And I think the part of the problem in this particular case is presentation. I had to do a double take when I listened to both themes that were coming out of the Titantron. Ember's theme sounds almost exactly like Asuka's theme. The characters are very, very similar to one another. Just the difference is that one believes in the name of the moon. Sailor Moon pun fully intended. And one believes in being the Empress of Tomorrow, which I call Empress of Destruction because it makes much more sense. And so you have two characters that have very similar gimmicks facing off against one another in a very similar match, which was enjoyable. It was incredibly enjoyable. It was a hard-hitting style Joshi match. This match went 12 minutes long. Didn't really feel like that. Again, you didn't really feel like there was a long match until the main event, which we will get to last. But I liked what I saw out of Ember Moon. I have only really seen Ember Moon on the takeovers. You felt like this should have been a triple threat match where they should have brought the Icons on board, or at least, well, Peyton Royce in this case. Leave Billy Kay on the sidelines. But just like something about this match just didn't work for me, because I'm glad that they're bringing heel Asuka on board. That was a major positive, but just everything was kind of rushed, and that people just didn't seem to know what they were doing in this particular case. Like, okay, we have a year to build Ember Moon versus Asuka, and we did it in this fashion, which just made people go, oh, what?
Yeah.
I mean, the positive was the match was at least good. I did enjoy the finish, which was basically Asuka threw the Rev into the ropes, Ember Moon tumbled down, and then Asuka got her for the pinfall. But yeah, they need to do some major fixings. And what do you folks feel about Asuka being this super dominant mega champion?
I think it's the right move to have her up top, but at some point someone's got to beat her, and we're kind of. I mean, I feel like by the time somebody's going to, we might be working ourselves into another Brock Lesnar or Charlotte situation where, yay, somebody beat her, but it's really late.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how you avoid that because Ember, I mean, like I said, they didn't build her very well, but she was the best built out of everybody. And looking at the roster, there's only like 7 other people here at most, and it's unless they want to give the belt to Cross or Riot pretty fast, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I would really like to see this, like, somebody beat Asuka and then crown them as, just to make a new star. But I feel like we're getting to the point where we might be missing the opportunity a little bit. Because there's only so long you can have a dominant champion like this without it making everybody else look like crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Asuka's losing at Chicago. I don't think she even gets I looked at some of the spoiler stuff and I'm not even sure there's a program set up for her in there. And then, so is she dropping this at Brooklyn? That's like, how long is that? That's about 4 months from now?
That's about 4 months or so away. That's in, like, I think August.
Man.
Yeah.
Unless there's something with this, I mean, even if they wait to the women's tournament, that's going to get done around August too. So, Wow. I don't know.
See, this is the big thing. People they shout and yell that they want a dominant champion. And then they get a dominant champion and they go, well, we'll have her continue on. I'm like, where's the continuation? Who do you have her face against? It's always the same issue. It's like they want a dominant champion, but they don't want to go through the responsibility of actually making sure to build that dominant champion correctly, or to make sure that you have somebody in the back pocket that you can use to put the belt on in case the dominant champion gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that weird.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, I agree with you. It's like they get so focused on making this dominant champion that they kind of forget they need to present somebody is capable of beating them. And then when they do that, they have to be actually ready to beat them. So, yeah, it's just, this isn't just the this goes on the main roster a lot too. And it's just strange, I guess.
You had the problem with Sasha being a dominant champion. You had the problem with Charlotte being a dominant champion. You had the issue when you gave the belt to Becky Lynch, which caused a massive uproar when they dropped the belt off of Becky Lynch to Alexa Bliss, which you can still feel the earthquake tremors to this very day.
That's been a deal over on Cageside Seats, I'll say that.
Yep. Becky Lynch has got many, many fans. That's what we'll say about that.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who have many, many fans, we have our last match, and we talked a little bit about him earlier on the show. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Bobby Roode. The second match in the Bobby Roode and Nakamura series, and final match because Nakamura moved up to the main roster after this show to debuting on SmackDown. And this was a match that happened. It was 28 minutes, 20 seconds long. So, for those of you who are trying to recall, wait, this match actually happened? This match was that long? Yes, it was indeed that long, and yes, indeed, this match did happen. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on this match?
I don't got a lot to say on this one. It kind of lost me in the middle. I really enjoyed the ending, and I liked Roode having to go up top for the. What did he do? He went up top for the DDT, right?
Yeah.
To finish off the match.
Yeah, he actually did a suplex.
Oh, a suplex. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of wish we didn't go back to this well. Their first match was pretty good, and I get why you'd want to go back to it, but I don't know. I felt like Nakamura wasn't really. I felt like he wasn't really there at some points, and Rude is. I used to be really into his ring work, but I feel like he's kind of at the point where that's not his main asset at all. So giving this 28 minutes was, I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of that. Keeping the belt on Rude, obvious. That was never in question with Nakamura going up. We're kind of at the point where we don't really have any challengers for him anymore either. And it's not because he was too dominant like the other two. It's just there's nobody left and everybody else lost. So I'm curious where they go with that.
I'm curious as well. So Kevin, what are your thoughts on this match?
I don't remember much from it that much either, but I remember that it was long and the entrances were really good. And I just think that this match was more of like a test run before he goes up to see if he could work main event style, a long match, and actually tell a story. You know, I think they both did a good job as far as that is concerned. But there's, I just think they just did a lot of spots to kind of drag out the time to see if they could work the WWE main event style kind of match. I think they have plans for these guys in the future. Bobby Roode is going up to the main roster sooner than later, probably after SummerSlam. I didn't get a chance to comment on the what you're talking about, the dominant champion with Asuka. But
continue on with that topic there.
She I'm gonna say it again. I'm a casual NXT guy. She won the last one. She won the one before that. I'm not really, into the storyline and knowing what's going on. But I know she's a dominant champion. I knew she was going to win coming in because I just looked at the challenger and was like, she's not ready yet. She has a good video package and everything, and she's impressive, but she's not ready yet. I know they're doing a women's a championship thing, like a tournament. So, a lot of them are going to get peppered into NXT. Maybe somebody who's a big deal out of that is going to be the one to beat Asuka and have her come onto the main roster. I think that's kind of the plan, and to pepper up the women's roster because it's becoming a thing now. Like now it could live on two different brands. I remember months ago on another Cageside talking about the women's division, and pretty soon it's going to be a thing, and now it is. And I just think in terms of that, Asuka just needs like that. I forgot her name, Amber Moon, I think her name was. Yeah. She's not ready. She's not ready yet. She just needs to work some more matches and talk.
Oh, her ring work is sound. It's her character that's the biggest issue here.
Yeah, that's the thing too. I don't really think that's going to translate to the main roster either. So it's gonna take her another year or so to get a personality, like and get away from that, so to speak, because that is pretty cartoony and I felt the Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan type of vibe, not match quality. I'm just talking about like two guys that are kind of the same. But we already know who's gonna win. Like I knew Asuka was gonna win, and she did a little bit of cheating. But when you're champion that long, you start doing whatever it takes to stay champion. That happens with every dominant champion. Who starts off as a face or a fan favorite, they start dipping into the dark side of things. So they're gonna build up a nice baby face. Somebody probably is gonna shine from the women's tournament. And be that person him and beat her, so
try and defeat Shao Kahn, basically.
But back to the Bobby Roode match. Like there's not much to talk about. We all knew what was happening. He's I just felt like it was just a test run for him to run a long match, and not necessarily what we know him for as against more athletic opponents. Because he kind of. I just think that the way they brought him down there was to, teach him how to wrestle against different styles, like, Kevin Owens and Finn Balor type of dudes. Not Kevin Owens, I meant to say Samoa Joe, and that type of thing. So I think he's going to be ready. Like I said, I just don't know about the talking with Nakamura on the main roster.
I think Nakamura will be fine on the mic. And as far as the long matches things goes, he's done long matches before. 30-minute long Tokyo Dome style.
I understand, but I'm talking about the WWE style.
WWE style of match,
okay, yeah. Long form main event, like that's like I won't say WrestleMania match, but it would be the same type of match you'd see him if he was a wrestler, like a WrestleMania match or something like that. He's just trying to learn that style. And to me, like, I feel like Bobby Roode is like a Triple H light, like, he had the white boots on. It reminded me of that triple threat match he had with Shawn Michaels and thing with the white boots. But it's he had a very throwback feel to him on that night. So and he worked that type of match. That's what I felt from it.
It's very interesting to me that they're trying to go with the whole corporation is evil thing with the whole video package that they did. It was like, okay, we get it. WWE is a massive owned company, but and you're trying to portray the corporate dude as the biggest villain, which you've done on the main roster, but I'm not sure it necessarily works in NXT, though.
Yeah.
If that was the goal... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Matt.
All right, if that was the goal with Bobby Roode, they really didn't hammer that home at all on TV. That was kind of my issue with a lot of the stuff in the card, really, is that they, like, I think it was Asuka and Ember, they faced off maybe a total of, like, they were, like, even in the same room together. They were, like, together maybe, like, 5 minutes. And Roode and Nakamura, they almost didn't even bother telling a story leading up to this. It was just Shinsuke got hurt in the last match. He's coming back. And that was basically a softball. Didn't even bother with that. And then I don't even want to comment on everything that's been going on with Sanity and Ty, because that's just the most. They presented that so as such a filler thing and so underexplained, but then kept it going on forever. It's just a real problem with NXT right now, is they don't want to. For whatever reason, they're fine with just like dream matches and oh my god moments being.
Oh my god! Look, it's that cool name from the independent scene.
Yeah.
Look at that shiny thing. And it was like,
yeah.
It's all these shiny toys, and they're not being used correctly.
Exactly, yeah.
And when it comes to the Ty and Sanity storyline, the thing that they messed up was Eric Young was Ty Dillinger's mentor. Okay, you go with the mentor storyline. But the problem is that you debuted Eric Young in Sanity before the reveal of, who's in charge of Sanity. What you should have done instead was have just 3 members of Sanity, then the leader show up a few weeks later. And that leader being Eric Young. Instead, what they did is they debuted Young inside Sanity. So you didn't have that whole babyface heel tease as to who's the 4th man in this stable. So they jumped a couple of chapters and messed that up. And the Roode Nakamura storyline is like, Nakamura is for the fans, even though he did just end one of their fan favorites, Sami Zayn, at Dallas last year. So that technically doesn't make a lot of sense, unless, of course, you're doing the whole passing the torch thing, and Zayn passed the torch of the fandom onto Nakamura. But again, the storyline isn't told very well. And then, of course, Roode being the corporate champion, you're like, didn't we just do this with Samoa Joe? Being sort of the unstoppable corporate champion guy.
Was Joe really? I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, it felt like he was always butting heads with Regal. So, I mean, but that never even went anywhere. So I don't even know. I mean, he's a corporate dude now for sure, but they never even bothered to try to plant seeds like that in NXT, which that just really bothers me. I miss when NXT used to be about attention to detail and focusing on long-term stories instead of just trying to twist together any dream match you can and kind of just half-ass whatever you got going on TV to get some sort of program.
Two questions, Matt. Two questions. One is how is Steven Regal's backstage segments these days?
I usually enjoy them. They're not really much of anything anymore other than just to set things up. But when his performance is usually pretty good. He's not like a Stephanie McMahon, I'm gonna cut you down and you down and you down.
Right.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, isn't one of the guys that used to write for NXT isn't like he a writer for SmackDown now?
Yes, he is.
Is that what happens?
Yeah.
That could be why it's not as what it once was? Okay.
Oh yeah, I think that's definitely why.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who replaced him down there, but
yeah. Well, two things happened. Ward got pushed up to SmackDown, and Dusty Rhodes passed away.
Yeah, that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Dusty was very, very keen on the whole
character development.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had 5 matches, and honestly, all of them were serviceable. Even the Rude Nakamura match, which was incredibly long and probably should have had about 7 minutes cut off of it, just ended like 20 minutes or 18 minutes. You don't need to do a long epic every single time, especially because Bobby Roode is almost north of 40 at this point.
Yeah.
I think he's at 39 right now, but he's almost 40. And you have him facing against Nakamura. And so basically we have a bunch of unknown challengers possibly going after Rude's belt, which hasn't really been decided yet. We have Dillinger and Young in their weird, endless feud and the Sanity-Dillinger feud. Aleister Black doesn't really have anything going for him yet. The Authors of Pain are the most dominant tag team, but we now have storylines involving Heavy Machinery and the possibility of a push for Dylan Miley, a big, gigantic dude who has hands the size of a small house.
He was impressive in that tag match, I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was very impressive. I also like the fact that they're going with sort of a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde character for this guy.
Yeah. That's a pretty good turn for him. You can only have so many Braun Strowman like monster deals, I guess. So, and if he can play the role, let's see if
he certainly can act, which is a surprise. So anyway, we'll get our final thoughts off here on the NXT as a whole. So we'll start with Kevin.
Again, coming in as a casual NXT watcher, I just felt like it was just a good showcase of what they had, and I felt like the focus was on Asuka, Rude, and the Authors of Pain. Going forward, everybody else was just pieces. I'm really curious to see what they do with Bobby Roode going forward. Is he like part of a stable or anything like that? Is it just him by himself?
It's just him by himself, unfortunately.
Like a narcissistic kind of character. Like I love the music, I love the entrance. Like it's very old school, bad guy type of thing. So hopefully, he's gonna be, hopefully he's a good heel champion. And Nakamura is gone. We know that. Authors of Pain, they're gonna be strong until maybe SummerSlam, that takeover after that, and Asuka as well. We touched on that earlier, but I'm looking forward to see how things develop on the next takeover.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Matt, what are your final thoughts?
All right. So, in general, yeah, I enjoyed this takeover, but it just kind of had the same, or it showed that NXT is kind of at the point where it always will deliver on takeovers. I can only think of maybe one that didn't work for me. But it'd be great if we can get back to the point where the TV stuff enhanced the takeovers instead of the takeovers enhancing the rest of the product, if that makes sense. I'm looking forward to Chicago though. I'm curious about what they do. One thing, though, I definitely want would be just kind of a focus on someone like Cassius or Roderick Strong down in the mid-card. I think it's insane neither one of them are really pushed much, especially Ono. It'd be nice to see them start getting maybe a little bit of a build to the title, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. I was done anyways. So.
What's his name popped up on the NXT thing. That's who's
Oh,
gonna
right,
be him.
right. Drew Galloway.
Drew Gallows.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
he's gonna be Bobby Roode. Forgot to mention that. When you said that, it popped in my head. Yeah, so so there's gonna be new guys popping in. So I think he's definitely gonna win. He's definitely gonna win the NXT title probably at the SummerSlam.
Okay. Yeah, I completely forgot about him, which is weird because we talked about him on the pre-show for a second there too, weren't we?
Yeah. I completely forgot about Galloway. There was a little bit of a controversy involving Galloway. They actually had to pull him from his independent date to have him just sit down in front of the aisle section there. And they are going to let him finish out his Evolve dates at this point and wrap up that storyline that has been brewing. He was basically the anti-Evolve character, anti-corporate WWE character, which kind of has messed up their storytelling, but what you gonna do?
Yeah, so that's where everything is going pretty much. So what do you guys think of him being the NXT champion?
Galloway.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of his work outside of.
He's much better than he was in WWE. He's very serviceable, I think. As NXT champion, he's probably going to be NXT champion at some point, but we'll have to see because,
he won the strap at TNA, right?
Yeah, he won the TNA championship. He's also won numerous championships elsewhere, and it really just depends on who they're going to go with because he's the latest guy that they brought in to fill the championship role, I guess. And,
right.
We'll see if they go with him or Ono or Roderick Strong because I'm not really sure at this point who they're going. I know that Galloway's challenging for the belt, but still, it's like you're replacing one person and then you're filling it in with another person.
I think it's funny you say that. I think that's kind of where the independent scene is kind of going too. Do you guys mess with Cody Rhodes?
I haven't been watching him. I watched a little bit of his Evolve stuff, but I haven't kept up with him since.
I haven't watched him since he left. I was just curious. Like he seems to be a pretty big deal on the independent scene. So do you think you foresee him coming back or
not really? So. He's kind of burned some of his bridges with WWE, and the fact is that the Cody Rhodes independent tour is notable for all the wrong reasons. It's a very, very big win versus loss record.
Oh, he's taking L's or a lot of L's?
He's taking probably more wins than he should.
Okay. Did he beat Kurt Angle?
I'm not sure. I think he might have though.
Doesn't really matter because it was in a steel cage match on a show that. Let me think here. I think only a few people watched because there were some streaming difficulty issues with that one. But
did he do a lot of those things on that list he posted? Did he do a lot of those things yet? Or
yeah, he has. He's won most of those matches. And caused a great many headaches for many people.
I see. Did he have a match with Ricochet?
I think he had a match with Ricochet. I'm not sure.
I think he hit it. Yeah, I think he did at What Culture. With Cody, it seems like. I mean, I applaud him for going out and doing the indie stuff. He thought his stock would be better if he went out and did that. That's great, and I'm happy he did it. But it seems like he's not. It feels like he's there for himself and not for
the business.
The indies. Yeah. Which I mean, if that's what's working for him, that's what's working. But it's kind of a bummer. Looking at the list right now, I think he's hit everything other than Shibata, who apparently is now retired, or is it not going to get cleared anymore?
He's basically at this point he's not going to be medically cleared to compete in matches because he did one of the most devastating headbutts to Okada. Although actually the thing that I think hurt him first was the fact that Okada did a clothesline on Shibata's neck, a close range clothesline, which is his finisher, the Rainmaker. Shibata blocked the Rainmaker, and then he got. I guess it was just in the moment he just got mad and just whacked him on the head.
Yeah. Those headbutts are, I think it's, those headbutts are just not a good idea.
Man, dangerous, man. Very dangerous maneuver.
Yeah. I think he's pretty much taking care of everything on his list other than, Shibata, which isn't happening now, and Roderick Strong, who basically came in when he left. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he could stay on the Indies though. I don't see how that. I mean, the only person I could see him having a beef with coming back is like Finn. Like they're like around the same size. They look like they could have a good match together.
Oh God, putting him with Finney McBrogue, that would be a disaster waiting to happen.
if there's one thing I'll say about Cody though, it seems like it took him a little bit, but it seems like he's catching up a little bit with some of the ring stuff, because it felt like when he left, watching him against Saber and Hero, it felt like he was kind of outclassed pretty badly, which, I mean, that happens to a lot of people if you're up against Hero and Saber, because they're two of the best in the world.
Yeah.
But it felt like he was just trying to catch up. And I'm not watching him, but according to Reverend Kane, it sounds like he's kind of finding his footing. So, yeah, that's good. I'll take that. He'll probably be in the G1 this year. So.
Oh, good Lord. Wishing.
Guess we'll see what's going on.
Well, gonna wish the souls that have to face Cody Rhodes do, 14, 15 consecutive matches. Wishing them the best of luck.
Yeah, what's his? I gotta watch one match of him. I wonder which one I should pick. I'm curious as to what his finisher is. He still does the same stuff in WWE.
He still does the same finisher.
Okay.
He added a knee bar, I believe, or a move, or maybe an inverted figure four.
Oh, he has a submission. That's his
something
submission.
like that.
Oh, the one that Triple H does.
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to that. I think he tapped out Saber with that.
Oh wow, that caused an international incident, I would have to guess. Great. So, Matt, any other thoughts on the NXT?
No. The one thing I kind of do want to say though is I think out of everything that they could be building for TakeOver Chicago, the one thing I'm looking forward to the most is seeing Nikki Cross face off with Ruby Riott, though.
Yeah.
She did. They debuted Ruby here. We need, like I said in the last podcast, the women's divisions all across the board are kind of just hitting a little bit of a stale period. And we need new faces in there. So I'm glad to see someone new who is also talented. Yeah. I can't wait to see how that turns out.
It's really going to be very exciting because, you have new faces on the Raw side of things, where the biggest monster in the division is now on Raw. That would be Alexa Bliss, folks. For those who don't realize who the biggest monster is, it's not Nia Jax, it's Alexa.
Yeah. She's right at home on Raw.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Good mic work. She's going to, Sasha Banks is still on Raw,
yes.
right?
That's going to be real interesting because those two have a bit of a beef with one another. So,
what, backstage heat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Alexa's nose has been repeatedly broken by Sasha during matches.
Yeah. I don't know what happened between the two of them because Alexa seems like a person pretty easy that'd be really easy to get along with backstage. And I've never felt like Sasha would be too hard to get along with backstage either, even though she has a little bit of, or it seems like she's not always thrilled to meet up with some of the fans, but in general, it seems like she's a good person back there too. So
to be fair, she's getting harassed at airports, which is like
true.
Airports and wrestlers do not mix with one another because it's basically a constant feud.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Quick question. So since the Shield is all back on Raw now, who do you think they're going to team up to beat this summer?
That's if they even remotely decide to do a Shield reunion or not.
It's going to happen, man. There's no reason they didn't put them all on the same roster for nothing. Roman is not ready to get the championship yet. It's going to happen. I think that's going to be the summer angle. Rollins is still hurt. He could work tag matches and whatnot. So I think that's the way to give them all three of them kind of rest is to put them together. Because look at Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is an Iron Man. Hasn't been injured, been wrestling the full schedule. The only time he took off was to do that movie, right? And then I think keeping the three of them together somewhere down the line is gonna be good for them to keep them fresh.
Sure. I get what you're saying, but I'm just dreading this idea.
It's gonna
I know it's going to happen, but I'm dreading it because, like, Dean is the definition of average, and you've already know my thoughts on Seth Rollins.
Yeah, we do this all the time, man. But
funny thing, if you watched the WrestleMania 33 Speaks, I enjoyed his match with Triple H.
Nah, I gotta listen to that one. Yeah. You actually gave Seth Rollins some praise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
He actually sold.
Well, he was legitimately hurt. But yeah, man. But that's gonna happen. You know, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just curious what they're gonna do with Brock. I'm curious what they're gonna do with the next couple of pay-per-views. But I have a feeling that the Shield reunion is gonna be the summer angle, you know, against the Triple H, you know, heel faction type of thing. You know, as
if we already haven't dealt with the Triple H heel faction enough
times
the
summer angle is all about that, man. So
yeah.
you know, that's my favorite time. That's my favorite time in wrestling is the summer angle. I wonder who's gonna break out and be that guy. But I have a feeling that that's what they're gonna do with the summer, is do the Shield reunion. Well, we'll see.
Well, we'll definitely see what we'll have to deal with there. NXT TakeOver is very interesting. This was basically the forgotten homecoming for this brand because you have a situation where NXT is very popular. People really like NXT. But the problem is that, as we discussed in this panel, it's a lot of shiny new toys that aren't getting used correctly for these particular matches or angles. We'll see in TakeOver Chicago if they can reverse the trend, or we're going to continue to have the same kind of issues that we've been having with previous takeovers over the last few times here on Cageside Speaks. Naturally, our next show is actually going to be about WWE Payback in early May, and we'll see if we can get together a panel to do that show. Of course, we don't have to worry about Easter weekend, which, by the way, folks, please have a happy and safe Easter weekend. And we hope to see you next time for the next edition of Cageside Speaks, which will be, once again, WWE Payback in early May, and then NXT TakeOver Chicago in mid-May. We might have a few shows in between then, but we'll have to be about timing and scheduling and all that and other kind of stuff. And once again, oh, by the way, folks, if you have subscribed to Cageside Speaks on the YouTube page, be sure to toggle restricted mode off because there has been some recent issues with YouTube's algorithm that has caused professional wrestling channels all over YouTube to have their videos basically hidden from view. So if you want to view Cageside Speaks and other related Cageside-related podcasts, most of them have been shadowed by this whole restricted mode thing. Make sure you turn restricted mode off. To view this, Not Your Demographic, Cageside Live, whatever archive podcast is there, and Rudo Radio. This is affecting pretty much every podcast on the site, except oddly a few, the stragglers that for whatever reason the algorithm didn't catch. But just wanted to give out that little PSA beforehand. Thank you so much for tuning in on this edition of Cageside Speaks. Like we said, have a happy Easter weekend, folks. We'll see you next time on the next edition of Cageside Speaks on CagesideSeats.com. Bye!